Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the A250 Leadership Series. I'm David Fischer, and we are officially counting down the days. Young Washington is in theaters in 3 days, July 3rd. Tonight is about two things. Young Washington, a film releasing in theaters July 3rd in celebration of America's 250th anniversary, and what it means to lead. We hope you leave with a reason to buy a ticket and something that sticks with you long after. Go to angel.com/YW Resilience or scan the QR code on your screen. Now, this is our second conversation in this series, and we are so glad that you are back. Last week, we sat down with the writers of Young Washington and podcasting pioneer Adam Curry and talked about the principle of service. Tonight, we're going to go deeper with the principle of resilience. Tonight's a little different. We're going to be sitting down one-on-one with the young man who plays George Washington in this film. It's an intimate conversation, and I think that is exactly the right time for this theme. The themes guiding this series were developed with special thanks to a lecture series created by Belmont University's Power of Story course, with a grant from the National Endowment for the Humanities. This live event series was also made possible through Angel's collaboration with The Wonder Project, the creatives behind Young Washington. Washington was 22. Can you believe that? 22 when he was doing the things portrayed in this film. The young man joining me tonight is around that same age, and he's stepped into one of the most iconic roles in American history. Before we meet him, let's take a look at the trailer for young Washington.
Why can I not become a British officer?
Because you are not British, George.
There must be a path.
There is not for you.
Go dig my grave, both wide and deep.
I sense a storm looming over the Ohio territories.
To tell this world
I could go there, survey it for you.
So you have ambition.
Since the Crown sent me to serve, I've yet to have a good experience with a colonist.
I look forward to changing your opinion.
Much of that territory is unexplored. It's wild, unpredictable, and dangerous.
What are you called?
George Washington.
Whose fort is that?
It's the French, and land claimed by the British Crown.
Demand the French leave.
Who does own this land, if not the one who has the will to tame it? Tell your king we will never leave.
Then they will force you to leave.
Oh.
These are not the open battlefields to which you're accustomed.
I have fought in a great many battlefields.
Not in the New World, sir.
If you fail, I'll have a colonial to blame.
This is a direct order, and we will obey it!
It's not your fault, George.
Major Washington. You lost.
You started a war!
George, there's no fairness here.
That is not the way the world works! Then someone should remake it!
Choose your path. Make it yours.
Forward!
And prove them wrong.
In theaters July 3rd. Celebrate America's 250th anniversary. Buy tickets now at angel.com/Washington.
Young Washington is in theaters in 3 days, July 3rd. Get your tickets at angel.com/YW Resilience or scan the QR code on your screen. Tonight, buckle up. I am joined by the only William Franklyn-Miller, who plays George Washington in the film. William, it is so awesome to have you on with us.
Thank you, David. Lovely to meet you as well.
Incredible to see you on the big screen, 40-foot screen, playing our country's founder. You've got to bring us into the process. What was it like, when you came across this script, John Irwin reaching out, connecting with you? How did this actual spot land for you?
Yeah, good question. I think it all started very early on. It was just like any other audition. So came through my agents. I read the script for the first time, but straight away, the themes of resilience really struck to me pretty much straight out the bat. This is a story of George that I'd never heard about before. Obviously, even coming from a Brit, I'd heard about George Washington, knew so many facts about him, but never in his younger years. And so for me, I was reading all this for the first time. And a lot of the times I had to do a lot of Googling, and is this actually what happened? And I mean, it is. It's all true, based on a true story. And so it really drew me in. But yeah, I think it was around 4, 5, maybe even 6 auditions. And when I landed the part, I was so giddy, you wouldn't believe it. Honestly, it was amazing. A dream come true for me, and a dream role as well.
Oh, I bet. And honestly, I've got to rewind a little bit. Like, there's a lot of people that don't know your backstory. So why don't you tell us about who you are, where you're from, and help us understand who is William.
Definitely. Listen, I could give the long story. I'll keep it short. But so I was born in England, moved to Australia at a very young age, and so really found my love for acting in Australia. But started out as a model, and so I was very young, doing gigs here and there, and really eventually fell into acting, but it's always been something I've wanted to do. I started off with these commercials. I remember there was one for Target in Australia where I was playing with a Lego set, funnily enough, and I really liked just playing around with things on set and not being still the entire time. And my mum and dad bought me a puppet set, I think, at the age of maybe 7 or 6 or 7. And I just absolutely loved putting on shows for them, really. And so little did I know that would lead into a sort of full-time job, so to speak, when I got older. But yeah, I've moved countries about 6 times. So England, Australia, back to England, back to Australia, to Ireland. I lived in Ireland for a year. Even Qatar for around 4 or 5 months of my life as well, which was really strange. But it's been a weird one. But I talked to someone recently and they were like, have you ever noticed that you've sort of been acting your whole life? And I was like, well, what do you mean? And they were like, well, every time you move schools, you know, because it's a different environment, you're sort of playing a character for the first few months until you really fit in. And so when I think about that and moving so much, you know, it's sort of been always a part of my life, which is interesting. But yeah, then focused on my studies, did A-levels in England, which is the equivalent, I believe, of high school over in the States.
Sure.
And then, yeah, this came across my table, which was like a dream come true.
What was it like working with John and engaging John in his unique way of directing?
He's amazing, and definitely a unique way of directing. I think all directors are very unique in their ways, but with John, I mean, I learned very, very early on that he is super specific with what he likes, and he's got that vision in mind, and that really helps. And I think the 5 weeks that I was out in Ireland, which is where we shot before we even filmed a scene, I got to know John really, really well. And by the time we shot the first scene, I was really on board with him and his vision, and that's what really helped me. And a lot of the times, you know, there were some scenes where he wouldn't even have to come to me and say, you know, we're trying to get this, just because we were on that same sort of wavelength, I suppose. And so it was great. You know, he's got a great vision, and if something isn't going his way, he will admit to it, and he'll change the scene, and really helps me a lot.
That's amazing. And I've got to imagine Ireland took on its own character as well. As you know, you film in Ireland, but you're looking for the locations that really get us into that time and that era right before the Revolutionary War, right? And so as it played out for you, as you were cast in the role, the reality is you know, Washington was 22 years old at in the spot that you capture his life for us, and he's at a consequential time in history. And what was it like to play, to shepherd that role with the kind of weight and understand that you had to figure out how to act that out without the audience feeling like you're acting that out?
Yeah, it was tough, you know. I mean, I was saying earlier, when I first got the role, I was super giddy, and I still am now. But very quickly after I had got the confirmation, that weight and the pressure, and really, I suppose, the sort of feeling of I actually have to honor this guy, and this is a huge responsibility, really hit my shoulders. And from then on, what I did was I did as much research as possible. You know, George wrote a lot in his younger years, but really, in comparison to his older years, there's little. And so a lot of it really was bringing the mentality, but also the birth of his ambition. And so for me, that was studying his elder years, what were his passions, and then figuring out, or at least trying to figure out, how that all started. And throughout the script, I think hopefully you'll see that. But it was definitely a big responsibility for me, especially as a Brit, I must say, playing this legendary figure. And so I think I navigated it correctly. And really, it's finding the birth of his ambition, which was my main goal, but also bringing the mentality of a 21, 22-year-old to screen as well.
Did you feel like that there were like new things that you were discovering through the acting process in your character, your portrayal of George? Like, did you try to really embody it?
Definitely, I really did, and I think a part of that was also the costume. I mean, it's kind of ironic, but yeah, once you put on that hat, you really, I mean, not only look like George, but you really become him. I think the costume gives you the stature and the confidence, and really just has your chin a little bit higher. At least towards the end, not to give any spoilers, but the costume changes, and that one was a lot. I suppose the stature was just even different from that to the militia uniform, and so it really fascinated me. But yeah, no, there's so much to George. But really, what I loved is that at the very beginning of the film, although destined for greatness, and you could see it, he is just a regular 21-year-old, 22-year-old man in that setting. And I think for people watching the film, it's inspirational, even for me as well, just to see that if you set your mind to something and you're adamant and and really just believe in something. You can really set your mind to it, and you can complete it successfully, I suppose.
No, it's well stated. I mean, the idea of setting your mind to something and what the next generation, what we hope that they will experience in being at the theaters watching Young Washington is really an exploration of both the founding of this country, but also an interest, right, in history. And I think what's quite powerful about George and what you had to figure out is he's a man that failed in some pretty big ways, and some of the decisions that he made cost lives. Like, it really, you're in war.
It did.
And what was that like to portray someone that failed so publicly but had to get back up and to show that resilience?
Definitely. I think it's interesting. I think for these legends, and rightly so, we do put them on a pedestal over the years. And I think that's the thing with this film, is it's bringing the human nature to him. And like all of us, we all fail. And there's no successful person without failures. And I really, really believe in that. And so I think once I'd read all about, George in his younger years and the failures he did go through, it just makes sense to why he was so successful in his older years. You learn from these mistakes, you learn from what you get wrong. And as an actor, me personally as well, I suppose, it's a similar level. I've done hundreds and thousands of auditions, and I've maybe landed 4, 5, 6 of those out of those thousands over the years. And I think I look at every setback and every no as really an opportunity to grow and learn what I didn't quite do right. And if there's no feedback, learn what I thought I did right and build that for the next audition. And so really you're constantly learning from these failures. And really that's exactly what George did, albeit in a different nature, of course. But yeah, it's the human aspect of that is failure. And we all go through it. And I think that, makes him more human.
Absolutely. I mean, that's such a great lesson, is just, as you go through failures, to learn and to engage in that and then get back up. And for you to tap into that personally, powerful. I'm sure, you've got an actor not only is challenged by the elements, the actual weather, where you're shooting, the harshness. You've got clothes on, wardrobe that is not normal and usually not all that comfortable, especially in a period piece.
Tell me about it.
You've got hair and makeup. You've got all the different things that you're challenged with, and you've got the story. And you have to kind of bring yourself into that place, into that story, where there's some, given all of that, the totality of that, William, was there a moment or a scene that you can recall that was like you had to dig deep to get there, particularly maybe not because it was hard to act it out per se, but that it hit you so personally that it actually, like, you were embodying that difficulty or that moment?
Definitely. I think the full necessity scene, which happens maybe around 40 minutes into the film, was definitely the toughest. Not only to shoot, we were in these costumes, there were rain machines. Not only were we wearing these costumes that were wet, but underneath we had, these waterproof costumes as well to stop it from drenching us completely, so we would get too cold. And so there was a lot of weight to that scene. And then not only that, the mud was up to knee height in areas. We were running around with these real muskets, by the way. I mean, they're fully real and very heavy to run around with. We have these backpacks, the ammo pouches, yelling, screaming, there's bombs going off, explosions and all sorts. And really it was a lot, but also it was a mental toll on me as well at the time. This is tough stuff, and having to remember the dialogue in the mix of it as well is tough. But I think that really shows on screen. And for moments there, filming those scenes, I was looking around in character, but also just sort of experiencing it for the first time, because there's so much going around. And this is the world John builds, really, is so immersive that even myself, I sort of fell into it at a stage, and I was looking around like, oh my God, this is just insane. I mean, that cut didn't make it into the film, evidently, but yeah, it was so believable. And obviously, compared to what George actually went through, it would have been minor, but for me, I could really feel it in that moment.
We call it, right, the suspension of disbelief for the audience, and you were experiencing that as the actor.
Literally, which was crazy.
And that's like the perfect, you were made for this role. I mean, if that's what's happening, and John was made to direct it because he put you in a position to actually give us as the audience an authentic portrayal of that moment. I mean, A lot of times people
Definitely.
say, this whole series has been based on very specific words, right? And this one is resilience. And some
Yes.
people will think that resilience is just about bouncing back, but I think it's more than that. And I think we see more than that of the character of George Washington. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you experienced resilience in the man of a young George Washington and what it's meant to you?
Definitely. I think the whole film is really on that key word as well. I think it plays a massive part. I think even the first few weeks of shooting as well. I mean, for me, on a personal level, I've been an actor pretty much my whole life, but I've only done bits and bobs. There's never been a major lead role like this in my life to date. And so it was a huge responsibility, but along the way, it was like really a rising to the occasion, I suppose, which is the same stuff that George did even at the time. There was a lot of opportunities coming to him, a lot of obstacles to overcome, and he didn't quite know if he could really achieve them with success until afterwards. And some of those times it did result in failure, but he learned from that. And I think really for me as an actor as well, I embodied that too, really, to a certain extent. And so a lot of the times I was like, can I really lead a film? It's one thing being a lead, like the number one actor on a film, but you've also got the cast that you have to look over to make sure everybody's doing well. You've got to make the world believable. You've got to get along with everyone and make sure everyone's really together, because it's a family. And so there was a lot of aspects that I didn't really think about until I was really there. But I suppose I rise to the occasion, or fingers crossed I did. But there was a lot of weight to the role. And resilience, I think, just ran through the whole thing for me as well as an actor, but also for George on the writing, on the script as well.
Yeah, there is no doubt to me that you rose to the challenge, William, and
Thank you.
I can't wait for the world to see you. I think when I think about the audiences that are going to fall in love with young Washington, I'm probably most interested to see how the next generation, right, the younger audience members, are going to come and see this movie. And you are young yourself, and
Yes.
you're a young actor yourself, and so to take on a role where you're cast like right at that time is got to be powerful and profound for you, but also it gives you a unique platform and stage to talk to your generation and generations younger than you that are excited to see you in particular play this role. What would you want them to walk away from tonight as they listen to you and as they think about going to this movie?
Definitely. I think, listen, young me, even watching this film, if I was a younger version myself, I think this film really just embodies the ambition and the birth of ambition, and how it really can culminate in all of us. I think there's a bit of George in all of us, as there is, George in everyone, in the sense that, like, George really, throughout this film, just believed in something so strongly that he would not give up. And I think that is, as resilience goes, the definition. But it's also, he strived for something, never gave up, and really fought through everything, failures, success, but he didn't get ahead of himself. He didn't get a big head. He never sort of got too big for his boots. He was always grounded and stuck with that. I think that's what leads to success, really. It's keeping yourself through no matter what, but also striving for what's right. But I think an audience really, outside of this film, should really see that ambition, and I think it should hopefully light a spark in all of us, and especially a young audience, to really go for whatever it is that you believe in.
Listen, I do think the next generation is going to have an exciting journey watching you. And speaking of like working in practical situations, I'm sitting in a studio right now that is practically having a thunderstorm over my head. So do you mind if I put on my AirPods?
Yeah, of course. Go for it. No problem.
Let's see if this works. Okay, William, I've got my AirPods on now. I think I've solved the rain problem, but it is thundering where I'm at. Listen, we are 3 days out. 3 days out from a major wide theatrical release. July 3rd, Young Washington. What does it feel like for you right now?
Honestly, unbelievable. It still hasn't hit me. People were asking me after the Tribeca premiere, how does it feel? And it feels absolutely amazing, but it just doesn't feel real. And so I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be amazing. I can't wait for everyone to see it. I'm really excited what everyone thinks of it as well, and like we were saying, what they take away from it. You know, this is a dream role for me. It's got everything. You know, you've got the horse riding battles, you've got dynamics with the family, you've got a love story within it as well, and you know, these battles with society. It's a dream role for me, and I hope people really take away and really enjoy it.
I love the image of you putting on George Washington's hat and coming into the role, almost making it, you stand taller, shoulders back, and you kind of fit in that spot. You know, you know who you are in that moment. How did you learn leadership in this role? And again, think about the audience that's going to walk out from this. How would you speak to leadership and the resilience of leadership?
Good question. I think throughout my life, I've never really been a leader, so to speak. You know, the sports I've always done was swimming. And so just in that, and growing up, you know, swimming, you don't really have a leader. And so I hadn't really had any sort of instances of leadership in the past so much. Obviously at school, maybe sometimes, but really for this role, it was something like I was saying earlier, I suppose rose to the occasion with. And that was one of my doubts before I took the role as well. It was, am I going to be able to sell this? And am I going to be able to lead the rest of the cast? And it's similar to what we were talking about earlier. But I think for me, it was finding it in the moment. Similar, I suppose, to what George did as well. You know, we're never confident that we're capable of something until we're really in that moment and we're aware of it. And I think that's the beauty of it, and the beauty of leadership as well. And so I think I found it and succeeded in that sense. And so yeah, it was really fascinating for me to see.
Fantastic. I'm going to end our time together. It's gone by fast. I feel like I could continue to have this conversation for an hour. But I'm going to end with a handful of questions that I've asked all of our guests on this series. And we've been calling it our rapid fire. It's just a set of questions that we'd love for you to just kind of think about and share with us. First is, what is one word for you that would define this film?
Define the film with? Oof. Statesman, I'd say. Statesman would be a good one.
Statesman. I like that.
Statesman.
How about a scene in the film that you love without giving spoilers?
The scene where George returns after Fort Necessity. I don't know how much I can say about it, but he's with his mother. And it's a really deep-rooted one, and it really inspires George, I think, and that would be my favorite one.
That is a powerful scene, Matt. So I would absolutely agree with you.
I'm glad you know what I'm talking about.
I absolutely know exactly what you're talking about. Okay, one leader, living or dead, who leads with resilience. A leader, living or dead, who leads with resilience. You can't pick George.
Don't pick George. God, who leads with resilience? I mean, coming from England, I'd have to say the Queen. I think throughout her life, she devoted her life to service, and I think that takes a lot of resilience. So I'd have to say, the Queen, for sure.
Beautiful. How are you celebrating opening weekend of Young Washington?
That is such a good question. I don't even know if I know yet. I'm going to be watching it, that's for certain. I'll be in the UK, but I'm going to love it. I'm sure I'll be with my friends and family and hopefully set up a little screening for them to see how beautiful this film is. And yeah, I'm going to be proud of it, but I'll be celebrating with my friends and family, hopefully.
It's going to be incredible. I can't wait to see you at the premiere. I can't wait to journey with you in this. This is the theatrical debut, and it's finally happening, right, William? It's happening because Angel Guild members voted on this film, believed in the story, and many of the Guild members are tuning in right now. And is there something that you would like to deliver to them, a message you'd like to say directly to our Angel Guild members?
Definitely. I think first, a huge thank you. I mean, when I first read the script, this is a story that I couldn't believe existed and hasn't been really shot before. You know what I mean? When I read it for the first time, I was like, how has this not been done? And it really hasn't to this scale. And so I think this is a story that really, really deserves, and probably for a long time has deserved to be be told. And I think thanks to you guys, it finally is. You know, this is a powerful story, and I think people are really going to relate to it, and hopefully will inspire a lot of people my age and of all ages, really. And I think it's a beautiful story, and I'm very grateful that I got the chance to portray George, and I hope I do him justice.
William, thank you. Resilience is surely not solely a feeling. It's a decision you make when everything is telling you to stop. And Washington made that decision with resilience. And you spent months living inside that truth to bring it to the screen. I hope everyone watching makes that same connection when they see this film. You're such a blessing. We are very thankful to you, the Angel Guild.
Thank you,
to your dedication, your passion for your craft, the fact that you said yes to this project for such a time as this. We just wish you the absolute very best. We celebrate with you. We're excited. And thank you for joining me this evening.
No, of course. It was a pleasure. Some great questions. And yeah, I'm looking forward to everyone seeing the film.
Young Washington is in theaters in 3 days. July 3rd as part of America's 250th celebration. The link to get your tickets is on the screen right now. angel.com/YW Resilience. Don't wait. Join us Thursday night for the third and final A250 Leadership Series episode. We're going to be sitting down with director John Irwin and historian Greg Jackson to close out this series with a conversation about integrity. The night before the film opens. We'll see you then, and we'll see you at the movies. If you missed it earlier in our show, here's another look at the trailer for Young Washington. Good night, everyone.
Why can I not become a British officer?
Because you are not British, George.
There must be a path.
There is not for you.
Go dig my grave. Oh, it's wide and deep.
I sense a storm looming over the Ohio territories.
You tell this world.
I could go there, survey it for you.
So you have ambition.
Since the Crown sent me to serve, I've yet to have a good experience with a colonist. I look forward to changing your opinion.
Much of that territory is unexplored. It's wild, unpredictable, and dangerous.
What are you called?
George Washington.
Whose fort is that?
It's the French. Land claimed by the British Crown. Demand the French leave.
Who does own this land, if not the one who has the will to tame it? Tell your king we will never leave.
Then they will force you to leave.
Oh.
These are not the open battlefields to which you're accustomed.
I have fought in a great many battlefields.
Not in the New World, sir.
If you fail, I'll have a colonial to blame.
This is a direct order, and we will obey it!
It's not your fault, George.
Major Washington. You lost.
You started a war!
George, there's no fairness here.
That is not the way the world works!
Then someone should remake it!
Choose your path. Make it yours.
Forward!
And prove them wrong.
In theaters July 3rd. Celebrate America's 250th anniversary. Buy tickets now at angel.com/Washington.